Hello and welcome to ETEnergyWorld. Today we are talking to Dr. Ajay Mathur, Director General, TERI, earlier known as the Energy and Resources Institute. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you. It's such a pleasure to be here.
So there has been a change in the leadership of TERI and it's been a year for you also. So what has changed in this 1 year? What have been your focus areas and how much of that have you achieved?
There are two kinds of changes that have occurred. Some are internal and the other set is about how we do work. On the internal front, there has been a huge emphasis on processes and transparency. And as far as the external world is concerned, our emphasis has been on taking the work that we do much closer to their ultimate end users. So TERI's research ends up either as policies or as technological products or as services. Now what we want to make sure is that people start using them. This means making partnerships with governments, with other actors if we want policies to come in. Partnerships with companies, with banks, so that the technological products that we make go out and reach as many factories and homes as possible. And with companies, with builders, with financing institutions, if we want our services, such as energy audits or water audits, or rating of greenness of buildings, to become completely widespread.
So what has been your major focus area so far?
There are many focus areas. Sustainable agriculture, providing low pesticide, low fertilizer plants. That's one. Energy efficiency and renewables is another. Water efficiency and microshed water management is another. Helping cities to cope with climate resilience is yet another. So these are some of the areas which TERI has focused on. But most importantly, in the recent months, we have been working a great deal on seeing the energy futures of India, to see how do we transition to a future in which there is adequate and affordable energy available to all, but it does not result in a large amount of either local environmental pollution or of global CO2 emissions.
Talking about your policies, you recently came out with a report that said that India has a 10-year window to shift completely to renewable energy. So when you talk about this, you are saying that we'll completely move from coal, or you think that renewable will catch up to the capacity that coal has right now?
What we are saying is that in 10 years, we will reach a situation where all new capacity would be based on renewables. This is not to say that old coal capacity will be retired or will suddenly disappear one day. For a variety of reasons, today we are in a situation where there is a huge amount of electricity generation capacity in the country. It is so much that even while electricity demand keeps on growing, this existing capacity and the capacity that is under construction would be able to meet all our demand till say something like 2026 or 2027 or 2028. That means it will only be in the middle of the next decade that people will start thinking of financing the new capacity that will be needed beyond that. Now, if in this much time we are able to reach a situation where the price of electricity from renewables, the price of firm electricity from renewables, that means it's available when you and I need it, not when the sun is shining and the wind is blowing, which means it will be, for example, solar or wind, plus storage, say batteries. If that electricity costs about 5 rupees per unit, then that would also be the price of electricity from coal at that time, 10 years from now. If that happens, then banks will look at a proposal and say, well, why should I finance coal? I'll finance solar plus batteries. In other words, all new capacity that is added after 10 years would probably be solar plus batteries. So this is not to say that coal will not increase between now and 10 years later. Coal use will probably be double 10 years from now than it is today. But we feel that beyond that it will plateau out.
But anyway, the CA is saying that in the next 5 years at least, there will be no new coal capacity addition.
Yeah. So there we agree. But this additional point that we are saying is that beyond that time, it is quite possible that when the new capacity comes up, It's not coal capacity, but renewable capacity.
So do you think in 10 years we'll be able to, improve our storage capacities and storage technologies as well?
That's the great challenge. What we have seen over the past 10 years, since 2005, is that the price of storage has dropped to a third of what it was. It needs to drop again by a factor of 2, that means become half in the next 10 years if we need to reach that magic number of ₹5 per unit of electricity. If you ask me, is it possible? I say, my answer is yes. We'll probably do it sooner. And we'll do it sooner, one, because the demand is increasing. And the second is that we are at the cusp also of a very large change in technologies. Today, all batteries in India are lead acid batteries. But as lithium ion batteries come in with a better performance, then we will see that their lifetime costs are actually less than those of lead acid batteries.
Talking about renewables, solar recently had an amazing auction where the price came below 3 at 2.97. Do you think there's a further window of prices going down?
If you look at what we have seen in other countries, we have seen a sub 3 US cents per kilowatt hour price in Abu Dhabi and in Mexico. That turns out to be about 2 rupees per unit. What we have seen is 3 rupees. So even today there is a room for the prices to come down. My own belief is that the reason we are getting the prices that we are is because of the higher cost of money in India. But as we move ahead, I believe that various financing options will emerge that will make the cost of capital cheaper. And at the same time, there will be technological improvements which will also drive down the price. My own feeling is that in 10 years, we should be at a level where the price is somewhere in the vicinity of less than 2 rupees per kilowatt hour on solar.
But if we talk about REWA, many experts have said that the prices, especially for that solar park, were low because of various other factors, like the solar park rate was low, there was deemed generation. But do you think that for other solar projects also we can expect similar rates?
I think the REWA project has taught us that one of the ways in which we can get low prices is by making sure that many of the risks that an investor puts in are taken care of. So the project land preparation was complete. There were environmental clearances. The evacuation facility was there. There was a power purchase agreement in place. All of these things helped lower the risk and increase the comfort of the investors. And that's clearly one of the reasons why we got that low price. If therefore a state is looking in the future at getting low price solar electricity, they will, I think, go the same way of making sure that all of these things are in place. The risks have been adjusted before an investor decides to invest.
NITI Aayog has finalized the first blueprint of the national electricity policy, and it is likely to free coal, power and fertilizer sectors from subsidies. Your take on that, sir?
As far as the fertilizer sector is concerned, the electricity price even today is a price at which the electricity company does not lose money. So effectively on the electricity side, the subsidies are, I would tend to think that there aren't subsidies for the fertilizer sector. There are certainly what I would call as notional subsidies on the gas side for the fertilizer sector. And those notional subsidies are largely because the gas price for fertilizer is set as an artificial price, just as the gas price for electricity is set as something else, so that all the prices together equal the cost of supplying gas to these various consumers. And the issue is that why should the price of gas for fertilizer be less than it is for other uses?
So you have been a man from the BEE, the Bureau of Energy Efficiency, so you would know, I think, the most about energy efficiency. So what is the scenario in the country right now? Because we are talking so much about LEDs and energy efficient fans and pumps.
You know, when we started this conversation, you talked of the CEA report, the CEA saying that the current demand will last for 8 or 10 years. One of the major reasons why this is happening is that the electricity growth, the demand growth in this country has been much less than what people expected. So people set up a lot of plants expecting that the demand would be high. But because of energy efficiency, the demand has been much less than what people would have expected with the same kind of economic growth. This means that energy efficiency has actually entered our lives, our homes, our offices, our farms. LED bulbs today have, I think, more than 220 million LED bulbs have been sold. My estimation is that something like 375 to 400 million sockets exist in the country. And if 220 million of them have LED bulbs, it means that more than half of those sockets already have LED bulbs. That's quite a transformation. The point is that for you and I, electricity is expensive, petrol is expensive. So all of us, whenever we get a choice of an energy efficient product or service, I find that we use it. And that, I think, is the whole ethos behind this declining, or rather the increasing energy efficiency or declining loss in the usage of energy.
This brings me to a very important question. We often have been attributing the fall in demand to energy efficiency. So is it only because of energy efficiency, or we actually have problem in demand and there is not much demand in the country?
There are three reasons for it. Energy efficiency is one, but it comes after the first fact, which is that many electricity distribution companies would rather drop a load than buy expensive electricity. That's number one. And that's largely because the tariffs that we have for electricity in many sectors, the distribution companies actually lose money for every kilowatt hour of electricity that they buy and supply. They would rather not buy electricity than buy expensive electricity and sell it at cheaper rates. That's number one. Second reason is that there is also a structural shift happening in the economy with a move towards the services sector. What this means is that on an average, the amount of electricity or the amount of energy that we need to produce a rupee of GDP is less today than it was yesterday. And the third, of course, is energy efficiency.
Great. I think that would be all, sir. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you very much. It's been a real pleasure.